Dear friends, my lovely audiences, welcome to the East-West Show. Jack Chow on the East-West Show with the G&E TV. Today, the whole world of the global earth gets excited because history is made, right? For over 60 years, ever since 65 years to be precise, ever since the Korean War, the North Korea situation, North Korea headache has been so much that is the head scratch to everybody. And nobody, and everybody, lots of people tried to do something, and lots of people over and over again tried to do something. Nobody has done anything, or nobody could possibly have done anything, right? Now, history was made in the hands of Donald Trump, who I did not support at the time when he was running the election. And I started to see convincingly he had proven himself to be the leader, right? So history was made, and yesterday was a big day. My friend Ken Hamming is with me today. He stayed almost throughout.
7-8 hours.
7-8 hours last night. I tried to stay, extensively.
You fell asleep.
But I fell asleep halfway. So, Ken, welcome to the show.
Jack, I'm so happy to be here and with our fellow Americans, your viewers and that. It's a beautiful day, and as you can tell, I'm a proud American. I'm proud of our president. I have my American flag tie on. I want to fly the joy of being in America and the progress we're making for every little area, any square mile that can be converted from hostility possibilities to peace probabilities is a joy. And that's what we're celebrating today.
Yeah, exactly. What do we call 31 years ago in 1970?
What about 87?
No, 1987.
Yeah.
1988.
Okay.
1988. 1988. No, 1986 or 88.
It's
Ronald
right there.
Reagan, former President Ronald Reagan, says, "Tear down that wall."
I listened to it in real
Tear
time.
down that wall. And he said it in a beautiful speech.
Yeah.
However
It's a
short.
great speech, yeah.
Right. And then years later, 1989, the wall was down.
Yeah, that speech had the power, just like John F. Kennedy's speech, way back in the 60s when he said in German, "I am a Berliner." And that was powerful, and this was really powerful. Nobody knew what impact it would have, but about a year later, the wall went bye-bye.
Yeah.
And you can remember seeing people with sledgehammers and people going crazy.
You know on what day President Ronald Reagan said that famous speech?
Well, 31 years ago today, right?
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So history lives on.
June 12th.
Yes.
History repeated itself. I believe the instant was not, the date was not just an instant, right? The day was purposely taken.
Well, in one thing
Was chosen purposely, delicately, to be on the exact day, to follow. To follow the model of Donald Reagan.
Yeah, Ronald Reagan, right.
Okay.
And then also the interesting thing, when Reagan did that, all of his staff writers and his advisors did not want him to say, "Tear down this wall." They didn't want him to say it. "Oh, that's too aggressive, that's not going to go over well." And Reagan just said it because he knew it was the right thing to do.
And the audience who heard it, because he was on the other side of the site.
Yeah.
Because was calling shot.
Right.
Oh yeah! All of a sudden, never heard it. Never heard it. And then, you know what? Like a volcano. All right. The pressure, the heat, and everything is there. Only the last touch will just trigger it, boom.
And he was the
there goes
spark.
eruption.
He was the
He
spark that
yeah.
caused that. And that's a statement like President Trump does the same sort of things. Oh no, don't say that, don't say that, don't say that. When he thinks it should be said about little Rocket Man or whatever, he says it. And guess what? It always is working out.
Yeah, it is. In your eye though, what happened today in Singapore, well, and what happened back then at Berlin, what they had in common, what they had in difference.
Well, I guess the big difference is that North Korea has nuclear capabilities. And at that time, that wasn't the issue in East and West Berlin. But it was the beginning of the destruction of the Russian Empire, the Soviet Union. And so this one, though, like my heart was beating so hard watching where they were going to come out, and they walk out, and Trump right away reaches his hand out very far, and then he shakes his hand and he touches his elbow, and Trump, this was interesting because some people, like maybe dictators or something, don't like to be touched, but he touched them a few times, and I go, God, maybe they're boyfriend and girlfriend. I couldn't figure out because it was. And then later, after they their signing ceremony, when they were walking out, Kim had his hand on Trump's back. So, I mean, now these are people that said horrible things about each other, okay? Like you say to me sometimes. But then it's just a different time, different time for something special.
Some body language expert analyze those small things, those details.
Okay.
According to them, they say it is the wish inside the body for so long. Even though they first met, they acted as if they knew for a long time.
Well, that's really a good point, because also there was so much communication between Trump advisors and Kim advisors that in all of that communication interaction between those two sides got into the minds and souls of Kim and Trump. So they do know each other. They psychoanalyze each other to, not always correctly, by the way. And then the interesting thing,
the wish, the desire has been there for quite some time, so that in body language, without having to cover it, having to
they didn't have a new reaction to each other. Because they were prepared.
It looks like they know each other for a long time. And you know what? At the moment when Donald Trump touched his elbow, what was said?
I got scared.
What was the exchange?
Yeah.
Donald Trump says, quote unquote, right, 3 generations.
Yeah.
You're the first one that meets a United States president.
Very nice and very true.
Of the Kim family.
Yeah.
You know what Kim said?
What did he say?
In your family, 3 generations, you're the only president.
That's true. Yeah.
Right.
No, but
that's a nice conversation.
Then you've got these other people that are supposedly experts on negotiation that have failed for 30 or 40 years that criticize this, okay? So it's so insane. But I'm feeling the glory and the hope that, if you can have an area there, and there's a lot of countries involved, Russia, China, South Korea, Japan, these are all involved in this, and they've all been behind the scenes. And you know more about that than I do.
Yes, the big question remains that it was only a few months ago, the hostility was so strong, was there so obvious, and was so obvious that everybody can see.
Just over 2 weeks ago, yeah.
All right.
When Trump canceled it.
The hostility.
Yeah.
No, even before that, they shoot again over and over again.
Yeah. Well, that was terrible.
And then,
over Japan.
All right. Okay, now, and how come all of a sudden things melt down this much?
Well, I believe I have an answer, and I could be wrong, because I'm often can be wrong. But because Kim knows that President Trump is not going to back down. And he knows if he doesn't, their economy is so bad with all of the sanctions we have, and we have, like Trump says, 300 more sanctions we can put on them if they try anything else. And that he's the first president that North Korea has ever met that actually will back up his mouth. And if he said it will be a very unhappy ending if you do not denuclearize. It's a matter of life and death for Kim. If he doesn't, if he starts shooting off new ICBMs or something like practicing or underground nuclear testing, it's a suicide mission. And because we're not going to let it happen, we're not going to let them have the capability of delivering nukes to Cleveland, in LA, and everywhere. It's not going to happen. So he knows, and also, even though the people, his poor people that starve like crazy and make $35 a month, okay, average salary.
Oh, maybe less.
And maybe less, because Kim had a $35 salad in Singapore, and that's a whole month for, no, I mean, it's really unbelievable. Like most of your viewers and myself haven't really experienced true poverty at the survival level. I mean, I've been hungry and I've been reasonably poor, but never at the poverty level, okay?
Yeah, of course.
And so it's something that's hard to understand.
He himself is never hungry. He never know what hunger
No, he's not
feels,
hungry.
right? He doesn't know that.
Yeah.
He doesn't know that, but his people. Remember a while ago we talked about a soldier who escaped in his stomach and what they found out, right?
His stomach had worms and all kinds of
worms, all kinds of thing.
And he's one of the better fed because he's in the army.
He was in the army,
Yeah.
right? Okay. Anyway, my dear friend, with my brother Ken Hemming, we are sharing the joy. We're overjoyed at this moment.
We are.
For history was made on June the 12th in Singapore with the President Donald Trump versus Kim Jong-un.
Yeah.
Now we can see that we can keep our fingers crossed for North Korea to turn on a new look. While North Korea turns on a new look, you're talking about not only North Korea, you're talking about the whole world.
Right.
You're talking about the
and
whole
Iran
world.
is listening to this too.
Yeah, exactly. It was exactly this morning over the phone. I discussed this with my friend of mine. I said, this is a model for the Iranian situation.
For the future.
And that they will probably follow, do it my way or the hard way, something like that.
It'll be the highway, yeah.
We'll be right back after this short moment, please. Hello, my dear friends, my lovely audience, ladies and gentlemen, my dear fellow Americans. This is the exact moment I feel so proud to be an American.
Thank you.
The joy.
God bless America.
The proud is there. God bless America. It is only in the hands of America can this thing happen.
That's true.
And also,
this is very unusual.
Thank God that we start to see with our own eye that Donald Trump, our president, is proving himself day by day with what he's doing, what he's capable of handling. In this situation, I would say, believe it or not, support him or not, he is the one, and he made it happen.
It's happening.
Yeah, good. And lots of people talking about accumulation. As accumulated, only in his hands, things are happened that way.
You're right. That's a very good point, Jack.
But it's not accumulation. It's not accumulation because what has accumulated was accumulation to the other direction.
It was an accumulation of failures that allowed
President
Trump
of other directions.
Right.
And now this is a change in his hands
right.
that I can argue with you. It's not accumulation.
No,
it
you're
is a turn that.
Thank you for making that very, very powerful point.
Okay, now. I do argue with you a lot of other time. Remember,
no problem.
We're talking about the economy. Okay, now during Obama time, especially the second term, though, the economy started making progress.
started making progress.
And over, the accumulation is there in Donald Trump's hand. Based on that progresses, those progresses, the accumulation I call, and things are getting better, and even better. And then double it, triple it, quadruple it, goes on and on. You can call it accumulation.
Right. Those 8 years.
But in this case, though, in all the hands of the previous president, though, he was spoiled further and further and further and further. The accumulation was exactly to the positive, to the negative side.
Absolutely were failures.
Right. That is a very worthy point to pinpoint it, to say this is not, do not call it accumulation. Nobody gets a credit in that thing.
Right. You're right.
Right. So.
Okay. And I think you'll agree with this. A very, very key player in this success to this point is our Secretary Pompeo. Mm-hmm. He graduated #1 in a West Point class. He's a very brilliant fellow, and Harvard Law School and everything, that maybe you and I could have done or could not have done. But a spectacular brain, and he and Trump have chemistry and mutuality in their souls for what they want to accomplish. And Pompeo has been a very, very key player, because he's already met with Kim twice.
Oh yeah, of course.
Man to man.
You have to have teamwork to do it, and teamwork, and the team is proven to be very effective, super effective.
And John Bolton and Kelly.
Back to the previous point, though.
Yes, sir.
You were talking about the North Korean are at a devastating point, that they are starved to death.
They are.
At this very moment.
Daily.
At that very moment, all right?
Yeah.
That is one factor pushing this way. And the other factor is that, so he has, I would say probably he has seen the picture in front of him if he does not choose to do so.
Yeah. He doesn't have, he's in a corner. China's helped get him in the corner, keep him in the corner. And the other countries with the sanctions, Singapore had to pay $15 million to get him over here. No. They had to borrow a plane to get him over there. Yeah, whatever it is, it goes up every hour.
20 million of Singapore yuan.
Yeah.
I don't know how much equivalents to
I don't
the
either.
United
I don't
States,
either.
right?
Yeah.
All right, okay. But it's a lot of money, but the premier says they're worth it.
And I was impressed with the premier, or whatever his title is, of Singapore. Nice looking guy, very, very gracious, very conversant.
Even tall and handsome.
Yeah, good guy.
Yeah. Okay, back to the point though.
Yeah.
We were just now talking about what if he did not choose to do so, right? And now, there was a commentator talking about the fact that given the character of Donald Trump,
right,
if he did not choose to do so, or if he did not choose to do exactly the way Donald Trump wanted him to do, he would just walk away.
And that's a powerful negotiating tool.
When he does walk away, what will happen? You're right. And there was also a comment say peace or war, not a peace versus sanction.
Right. Well, it would
now
be
we're talking
300
about
more sanctions put on.
My point is sanction or war.
Well, the flow of the events. Had Donald Trump left, okay, because it wasn't having, but see, they knew they were going to sign something, because all of the work done in preparation for this, already they had agreed to do this. I'm positive of that. But if not, then we would have put really strong sanctions on to squeeze. Unfortunately, innocent people would die of starvation. But that's how you get the attention of the dictatorships. But happily right now, that's hypothetical and not real. So we've got, now Pompeo is going to meet with their representatives next week. So President Trump's not going to wait 3 years to keep moving.
They're
going to get it on.
There are lots of details to follow up.
They're going to
follow up.
And
the funny thing is that somebody even did a comparison image
Okay.
of the satellite view of North Korea.
Oh, in South Korea.
Now at nighttime,
Yeah.
it's
Black and white.
totally
black
dark.
and lit.
Totally,
Yeah, it's
totally dark.
Totally dark.
And another one,
Yeah.
almost similar to South Korea.
Yeah.
All lit up.
Right at the border.
All
it's
lit up.
night and day.
No. Now they do the comparison
Okay.
of two. No, the comparison of North Korea to North Korea now
Oh.
and the North Korea then in the future.
Oh, okay. Oh.
3 years.
Hallelujah. Let's pray
in
for
3 years.
Let's
in
hope
3
for that.
years. The same North Korea.
Yeah.
One total dark.
Yeah.
Total dark.
Yeah.
Right. One all lit up.
Well, see, in Kim, he did some schooling in Switzerland. So he's been in the Western world, not a lot, but he knows about it. And he speaks rudimentary English, okay? And then he even, the night before, he went to a nightclub. I mean, he's a little party guy like every dictator.
Oh, he's a kid. He's still only 35 years old.
Yeah, 34 years old or whatever.
35, 34, 35.
Yeah, and then he wanted, what was really fun is he asked Trump if he could see the inside of his Mercedes limousine because he always says, I want one like that.
Oh, yeah,
okay.
of course.
No, that's cool,
And
though.
Speaking of that, though, he flew in with his airplane? With whose airplane?
Whose?
One bought from China.
Was it? Yeah. I
No,
believe
not a
that.
bought. Borrowed.
Borrowed from China.
Borrowed
Yeah.
from China.
Well, and that's indicative that China, I believe, perceives benefits if
President
it's...
Xi Jinping loaned him or lent him the
Yeah,
airplane.
that's good. That's good.
Right. So they're down to a point, of course, by the way, he himself still lives a luxurious life. No question about that.
He was in a $6,000 a night suite, that he didn't pay for.
He has brought himself, he brought his own toilet bowl
I saw that.
with him.
Yes, and I know why.
And
Yeah.
his food,
Yeah.
his water,
Yeah.
his everything going into his mouth
Yeah.
had to be brought from his own
Well,
country.
he's obsessed with fear of assassination. And he's very afraid. Plus, he also hates to fly. So he did fly and made it. But it's all, and then, the greatest thing is he's got 12 bodyguards and they run around the car when they're moving. Yeah.
When flying, the route?
I don't.
Yeah. The route on map is exactly from Pyongyang,
Yeah.
lift off,
Yeah.
going west to Beijing.
Oh.
From Beijing going this way south,
Really?
all along the coastal line.
Really?
All along coastal line. In case something happens, he can emergency land
In China.
In China.
In friendly territory.
Yeah, well, whatsoever.
Yeah, right, whatsoever, yeah.
He was so cautious
that's
about
interesting.
it. All right,
Yeah, I didn't know that.
And that might itself might be a push to where he is.
Well, and hopefully in his heart, he would like his people to have a little bit better life. I don't think it's like intentionally, I just want people to starve to death, but their ideology, of dictatorship, just doesn't work unless you're really benevolent, and he's not benevolent. I mean, he kills his brother, his half-brother, he has dogs eat somebody to kill him, and I mean, he does some bad stuff.
I mean, on the other hand, if you were talking about politics, though,
Yeah.
Especially dictatorship politics,
Yeah.
you really have to do what he did.
What President Trump did? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Know your enemy.
Yeah. Back then in Russia.
Yeah.
All right. The Tsar family.
Right.
The Tsar surrendered.
Right.
The Tsar surrendered when
Calmly.
when Vladimir Lenin and the Red Army rushed into the Kremlin.
Right. 1917, I think.
Right. The Tsar family has more than 160 people
Yeah.
altogether.
Yeah.
You know what? And Lenin killed every single one.
Including the little kids, innocent little
including
kids.
little kids, wives, whatever, women,
Right. Everything.
everything.
Just
And then chefs,
yeah. Oh yeah.
chefs, tailors, whoever.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
all the 160 whatsoever.
Yeah.
Lenin killed them all. Right?
Yeah.
So compare cruelness to cruelness. So what Kim did, it was understandable because it's a dictatorship. You're not talking about any other system.
Well, then supposedly the only person that can lead North Korea is a direct descendant of his grandfather. And now he's the only direct descendant of his grandfather. And I don't think he has any male child or anything.
Well, anyway, when his father died, he was only 17.
When his father?
Yeah, his father, Kim Chang-ren.
He was 17?
17, when he was 17,
17
his father
years ago
died. Yeah.
when he became the leader?
Yes,
okay,
yeah,
okay.
All right. Okay, my dear friends, my lovely audience, today with my friend Ken,
Whoever I am. King Wabing.
Kim Hemming.
Yeah.
How about that?
Call me Kim.
Yeah.
What an honor.
Ken Hemming. We're having good time because we're just chewing the glorious moment of seeing the biggest change of the world, the biggest change of the world, biggest ever. All right. Let's take a short moment now. When we come back, we find out, after all, what did they do? What have they done during the meeting for 5 hours, an extensive meeting? So stay with us. We'll be right back, please. Hello, lovely friends, my lovely audiences, ladies and gentlemen, my dear fellow Americans, my dear fellow proud Americans. Welcome back to the show, Jack Chow, on the East-West Show with G&E TV. I can say that on this global earth, the only proud Americans, I will say it is us who can do the thing just happened. Nobody else can, because
that's true.
Yeah, we're the one. Number one, we have the money. Number two, we have the military. Number three, we have the value.
We have the values.
The position. Right? We know what we do. What we do is right. Right? What we do, we can succeed. Right?
And we have a leader.
Yeah. Now we have a leader. So now you're talking about this great man, two great leaders putting together.
Well, I'm not sure Kim's great, but yeah.
Well,
but he's powerful.
Somehow he's great. At this moment, he decided to go the other way.
That's right. Right? It looks that way. That's right.
To go our way.
Right.
That is a great action. That's a great move. All right, good.
As a matter of fact, Kim actually stated that that people, when they see what they've agreed upon, will think this was a science fiction show, because nobody expected such collegiality between them.
Looking at his language, though,
right?
You would exactly see he's only a 30-year-old kid.
Yeah, yeah.
He's only a 30-year-old kid, and the moment when he was escorted by Singapore premier, he was looking around to see what to do next.
Oh yeah, sure. Well, you know, he's not worldly. He's not worldly.
Yes, he's never been to any event with such an elevation.
No, and there aren't many events of this elevation.
No. On your record, what have they done? What have they put together?
Well, this thing is, you know, I'll just generally speaking, this is the text of what they signed, okay? And it's probably 500 or 600 words. But basically, there's four main components, okay? And let me tell you, the fourth component is one that's incredibly moving, and that is that North Korea has agreed to allow our people, Americans, go in, look for remains of people that were killed in the Korean War, and bring them back to America. That is big. That is big. That is big. And the other areas were that the United States and the DPRK commit to establish new U.S. DPRK relations in accordance with the desire of the people of the two countries for peace and prosperity. Peace and prosperity works. You seek it, I seek it.
Of
right.
Course, yeah,
so
sure,
that's
sure,
big,
sure.
okay?
That's all we're there for. Well, we are for it.
Yeah, and then the United States and the DPRK will join their efforts to build a lasting and stable peace regime in the Korean Peninsula. And then, really big, reaffirming the April 27, 2018 Panmunjom Declaration, the DPRK commits to work toward complete denuclearization of the Korean Peninsula. Now that is what this is all about.
Yeah.
If they are denuclearized, Cleveland, Ohio is safe, and so are you. Now, all these issues about intercontinental ballistic missiles, that's going to be interesting because it's easy to get some like traditional weapons, onto Japan or something. So we'll have to see what all that means. But we're going to have Americans on the ground very fast in North Korea.
One by one, bit by bit.
Yeah.
The cease war agreement, was that signed?
No, and you know what? I don't think. Okay, and just for your viewers, technically they're still at war. There was
Yes.
a cessation of hostilities
just
agreement.
sustained.
Yeah.
The ceasefire, but the war is there.
But but I believe eventually they will then have a treaty of peace. But I don't think that should at all happen before all this denuclearization is done and everything's settled down.
Okay.
It should not be there because they
Okay.
should not be at peace with each other when we're still facing these hostilities.
Okay, number two. President Donald Trump says that he would temporarily arrest the military exercise.
Right.
Annual military exercises with South Korea.
Right. Now, in a way, I wish we were not doing that. However, if there's any indication of any military activity in North Korea, they'll be right back. And he did state that that's temporary, based on the
Temporarily
temporary.
arrest or put hold.
But also,
on
also I believe that both South Korean military and ours, they're ready for action. They're trained like crazy. So they don't become untrained.
After all, to us,
they're
that's
ready.
billions of dollars expenses that
Right.
we do on
That's
an annual
true.
basis.
A good
right?
point. Yeah.
Sure, that's a good point.
Yeah,
Anyway,
that's a good
we
point.
We take a break. We take a break. We
Take a
take a
break.
rest and save lots of money.
They only do it
and
twice
we
a year
watch-
anyway for
and
a
we
couple
watch,
weeks.
We watch how he performed.
Yeah.
And we can reactivate
Right.
anytime.
Instantly. They don't do it every day. They do it twice a year for a couple weeks. It's just some exercises to be coordinated with each other.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. And then number two, talking about the denuclearization, though, I have a few concerns. Does the denuclearization, by wording, include the chemical weapons? Because there was about a few weeks ago, we were talking about there is a possibility of developing of chemical weapons.
Right. And I don't know what they had said. It is not specifically included in this. Like other people say, well, you don't have the human rights violations in here. You got to go one step at a time. If you can get denuclearized, you've accomplished a lot, then take another step. And if Kim shows his desire to have a peaceful regime, he could, maybe he could still do what he wants to his people if they're not happy. But they're also going to be really happy if their life improves a little bit. I mean, if it just improves a little bit, he's going to have a happier people.
As I have watched a video clip of Pyongyang.
Yeah.
On the Pyongyang Street, when people see the big board, big sign,
Yeah.
they have a big screens.
Yes,
right?
sir. Yes,
They're
they-
like what we have on our major cities.
Right.
They see Donald Trump and their leader shaking hands. Where the expression on their face,
I did not see it.
numb.
Numb. Yeah. No, because see, all they've known is hatred for
unbelieving.
America and Trump.
And things are happening so
And
fast.
Kim is smiling and
Yeah, I
shaking
know.
hands. and They're touching each other.
Here's the point, right? And I know, everybody knows that North Korea is a country of propaganda.
Oh, totally.
Right? Propaganda.
From the minute
they
you're
have
born.
a huge machine of
Right.
propaganda.
And they turn
right?
each other in if you say anything bad against
They
them.
can say anything. They can talk anything into anything.
Right.
Right. Now,
Right. No freedom of
only
speech.
because things are changing so rapidly or developing so
Mm-hmm.
rapidly, even their own propaganda machine, did not have enough time to train the people, to educate the people.
Right, but now here's the point that I've heard made a bunch of times, that they view Kim as a god, in that no matter what he says, they accept.
Okay, no matter what he does.
If he changes 180 degrees, they believe that was the right thing.
Oh, in their propaganda, U.S. is our enemy. U.S. is our enemy. Enemy.
Right.
Our bloody enemy.
Right.
Something like that.
Yeah.
It's deeply buried into their mind. It's in the DNA of it.
Yeah, right.
By looking on the facial expression of those people on the street, though, you can tell for sure that they don't believe what happened.
Well, what they will believe is that our God, Kim, was able to subdue or work through issues with our enemy and convert them now to our friends.
Yeah.
And so that's kind
that
of
exactly to the turn,
transition.
To the turn, the transition, or you call it turn whatsoever, causes the
because see, they were prepared
the
for it.
knowing nothing facial expression. Kind of
Well,
like
that.
Jack,
just to be honest, I might have had some of those facial expressions last night watching this.
Yeah, to some extent.
Yeah, to a little extent. And then when Trump and Kim came walking out through the greenery on a path, like two brothers like you and I just kind of walking together, and Trump says, everything's going just very well. We're on our way to signing something. And they go,
and Trump even says, in a few minutes, I will know if we'll be successful or not.
And let me say this, too. Kim will probably be physically in the White House of America visiting President Trump.
Now, they have planned that in July, which is next month, President Donald Trump will visit Pyongyang, and in September, Kim will visit the United States.
And the other things that are going on, Trump will be meeting with Putin reasonably soon, with the Russian leader. And here's where fantasy comes into play. That's so much fun. Can you imagine the summit with the Ayatollah of Iran in Trump? Now, the difference, though, Jack, this is really big. The difference why Kim is able to maybe change the path of North Korea is because it's all about power and survival. With Iran, it's about their ideology of Islam.
What if we take a break right now? We come back exactly on that issue, please. Thank you. Right. Hello, dear friends, my lovely audiences, my dear brothers, sisters, my fellow Americans. Welcome back to the show. At the moment, we feel the most proud of being Americans. Right?
So proud.
And we're so proud that only we, the people of America, can make such a change. And we have a good leader. We have a leader with a vision. We have a leader with a plan. We have leader with the iron clench on the capture whatsoever. Okay, do it or die. Do it my way or hard way.
Yeah.
All right. Peace or war.
Yeah, and and survival for Kim is probably a better solution than being wiped out.
And he has already seen the picture of what would make things happen, what will happen.
Right. He's getting exposed to the possibilities.
To the possibility of getting rich.
See, one interesting thing too, they're talking about, well, maybe they put Burger Kings or McDonald's, let somebody come invest in North Korea.
Prior to the visit, he says he want to eat a Burger King.
Right, no,
a burger, hamburger or something.
Hey, look, the guy hasn't missed a meal. He's a little heavy set, okay? He hasn't missed a meal. But then one of the fears is if it's capitalism in there with burger places or something, if people talk about freedom and capitalism, that can change the soul of the Korean people.
Another way to look at the world situation, though, when North Korea surrenders, right?
Yes.
Comes to embrace with us, though.
Yeah.
You are talking about a big land with 25 million people.
Yeah.
right? Of having nothing, of zero profitability
It's
at
true.
all.
It's
At
true.
all. Of no profitability at all. Anything you do on that piece of land is welcome. Do you
That's
think
true.
so?
Yeah,
Right?
absolutely. Yeah.
Does that mean in a market
Helping
all over-
farming would be phenomenal.
yeah. Does that mean a market opened all of a sudden to the rest of the world?
Well, of course, you know, for it to be impacted, if the market is opened, people have to have money to buy stuff. And, you know, the government doesn't have a lot of money to buy stuff. So capitalists would, believing that they will be safe and not murdered, would be able to invest
Within
in
a very
there.
short time, I would say that number one, U.S. money will flow in. U.S. money.
Well, but I don't want to. I don't think many people want to just give them a lot of money. That's what Obama did. That's what Clinton did. That's what Bush did. We don't want to just give them money.
Of course,
you get to nuclearize.
We're not.
Then we'll help.
Yeah, we're not going pouring in.
This is not a
We're
bribe.
saying this first batch versus what's your first step, right? And the second batch versus your second step, like that.
I don't. You know, I don't think we're going to do anything until all the steps are done and we're denuclearized.
Well, anyway,
That's what I hope. We can't
it is
take the pressure off.
It's a process. It's a process.
Right.
It's a process.
Yeah.
And when you back up to a certain process, though, to a certain point, for example, if you have only remainder of 30% of your nuclear capability, though,
Right.
well, it takes forever to bring yourself back to 50,
Well,
to 60.
we need to get it to 0%.
Okay. Anyway.
And supposedly they say there's 40 to 100 nuclear weapons. Where are they? Let's go see them. Our
Okay,
people,
now-
Americans, have to
Yeah.
see it.
Okay. Let's see Russia.
Yeah.
Let's see Iran.
Right.
Right. So when President Donald Trump meets with Vladimir Putin,
That'll be fun too.
that'd be phenomenal too.
I'll stay up all night too.
All right. Yeah, you will be staying all night.
I
right?
will.
So, do you think with Putin would support what Donald Trump has done with North Korea?
Do I believe Putin supports it?
Mm-hmm.
Probably not, because they lose a bit of an ally. You know, if North Korea becomes a little friendlier and a little more peaceful in the world, Pakistan, Russia, and to a certain extent, China even loses a submissive ally, because North Korea has been a submissive ally. And if they start building an economy that allows people to survive with a reasonable standard of living, then they're a little more independent. So, but yet then, you know, they'll be part of the South Korea, Japan, and all the other countries in that area. It will be a better region of planet Earth. And also, I think China will be, you know, satisfied and
also,
work with it with the support.
Okay, all right.
I do.
Russia probably, when compared to Iran, may be second-handed
Yeah,
because
right.
they are not the one that exactly like what North Korea is doing, right?
Well, Iran
Plus,
loses an ally.
Russia is a nuclear country anyway,
Right.
Right. Then they are one of the countries, all right? Okay.
They've got a lot.
Talking about Iran, so what do you think, Uri, that this model, this U.S. North Korea model, would work on Iran?
The difference is, and this is very, very important, you know, Kim is a dictator with power, okay? But he's not an ideologist, okay? And yet the ideology of the Ayatollah and Islam is something that they can't really change. They just can't change the ideology that was put out in the year 6,000 approximately, 600, I'm sorry, by Muhammad. So that it's an ideology that is frozen, okay, that is frozen in time. And if you break it, then people are just really punished. So they can't they've really never changed from 660 to now, and they can't, you know, kind of ooze into a more modern ideology with a little more acceptance of tolerance, because Islam means submission. So they can only be convinced, I think, ultimately through military activities, which I think will happen sometime, because I just don't think they'll do it.
Ideology is, after all, only one thing. We're
Okay.
talking about nuclearization. We're talking
Right.
about their nuclear powers, right?
Right.
So for that, do you think let's talk about Donald Trump, right? Do you think Donald Trump will copy what he did successfully with North Korea to apply to Iran?
I don't think so.
To use
Because it's a different scenario. He'll have to
use
come up with a new approach.
different,
Yeah.
different
And it will be fully coordinated with Israel, our great ally.
methodology,
Yeah.
for example.
It'll be different. It
It
has
will
to
be
be. It's a different deal. And we don't have any,
By difference, though, what kind of difference do you talk about? Do you want to say that we would add some military efforts into it to push?
well, the military efforts are still, the military option is still on the table in North Korea. Now there's a path that will wipe out that option if they become peaceful and cooperative with other countries in the region. Now, and then China, of course, has been very, very influential and powerful with North Korea, all right? I don't know of any other country that really has the power to influence Iran like China has had with North Korea.
China is getting tired of North Korea already.
Well, I could,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's been on China's tail ever since his grandfather.
Right, yeah, it hasn't necessarily been.
Every now and then, here comes a hand saying, "Hey,
Well,
I need
yeah.
money."
It's been a burden on China to keep it going, you know, because of the
here.
geography and the border.
Here's a hand. I need money, or I will do this.
Yeah, right.
Okay,
Right.
and give me money, or I will do this. That kind of thing.
But see, now
China is getting tired of that already.
But all the countries around Iran in the Middle East, you know, are want them to be sublimated to less power and not have nuclear things. 'Cause look at all those Arab countries; they're in great danger with Iran also. Besides Israel, which they want to kill every one of those wonderful people. So. It's going to take a different set
And
of
also,
different
you
skill
compare
set.
our position. I believe that in the North Korea deal, we are always apprehended with everything that we talk about. In Iran, though, in dealing with Iran, do you see the same upper hand situation that we are?
Through sanctions in cooperation of other countries in the region that can make life very difficult for Iran. Now, the one thing with Iran, really different from North Korea, everybody's brainwashed in North Korea that he's God. But in Iran, the people are really, they want their freedoms back. It was taken away back in 1974 or whatever it was, you know, when the Ayatollah and Islam took over. And there's lots of activities for more freedom in Iran. And of course, then people get killed for protesting and whatever. But no, the people will be part of the revolution that can bring down their regime.
Do you think
The
that
people.
during Donald Trump's remainder of this term, he has 2 more years, and possibly another term, to take care of the Iranian situation?
No, not that fast.
Not that fast.
But if he's got 6 more years, there can be significant progress, if not more so.
So within the remainder of this term, though, you don't think it's
You know, there's only
possible,
2
right?
years left.
Only 2 years left.
You
yeah.
know,
But this took only a few months.
well, Iran's just different because it's ideologically has a foundation of ideology which is not flexible. So there's a difference.
In the meantime, we might want, we're all over time, but let's just run a little bit.
Yeah.
In the meantime, we want to look at Europe, though.
Oh, I love this.
What do you see? What do you see a European response?
Well, I love it. We just had the G7, And Trump is trying to make our trade activities, our trade agreements more fair.
He walked away from it.
Well, yeah, well, as he should. Because, see, they're used to sissy presidents, okay? That includes Republicans and Democrats that just don't want to change the power of the elites. Those Republicans and Democrats, they don't want to change. They've got all the power. They're sucking all the money, all of that. And Trump is really representing the people. And there's like a 270% tariff on farming projects to go into Canada. Trudeau up there, who has acted not very nicely, I think, inappropriately, but, you know, is a totally committed socialist, just like his dad, Pierre, was. And so it's a whole different, but we're friends, we're allies. We are allies, no matter what, we're allies.
How do the Europeans view the change in North Korea?
Well, because when you have the older leaders, I don't mean necessarily in age, but that have been in the leadership for a long time, like Merkel in Germany, you know, they're going apoplectic. They can't believe that. America, who has been the bank for the world, the right country to pick on and suck money out of and everything, wow, they're standing up for themselves. Yeah. I'm not a globalist.
Trump has already said no, we're not a bank.
Yeah.
We're not everybody's bank.
Look,
right?
Germany's putting in 1% of NATO. Okay, we're at 4%, and we protect Germany really, really well.
Yeah, okay.
And so they need to participate more.
Okay, my dear friend, we're way over
G7.
time. With my friend Ken Hamming, I had my good time, and it is an overjoy for the glory of Americans that we handled the most difficult, problematic North Korea Peninsula, and that we are proud of ourselves. All right. So, my dear friends, thank you for watching, and to Ken.
Thank you.
Thank you for sharing.
Peace through strength.
Peace through strength.
Thank you.
No war.